she's enlightened, and she's always says to me, she's like, there are like systemic things.
Marina Market is the old plant along the ford. This is part of it behind me. The rest are kind of stretched around the edge of it here. This is where the cars all came into the harbour and were assembled and manufactured right here in Cork. So we're going to talk to some of the owners, we're going to talk to some of the places that are in here, because what they've done here should be a lesson to the rest of the country. Instead of destroying something, build something. You wouldn't believe what's happening inside here. Let's have a look. This is who's been minding me all day.
Hi guys, how are you? You're all welcome to the Marina Market. Place where a lot of things happen at the same time, I suppose. It's all out to say.
So the Marina Market was opened 4 years ago. It was based on kind of concepts that came from Lisbon, like the Time Out Market and the LX Market. We wanted to build something that Ireland hadn't seen before. That's 7 days a week, space for entrepreneurship, that's a space for community. So we really didn't want to bring in big brands. We wanted to find people that wanted to create something from Cork and the surrounding areas. A lot of what we've done since starting was, focus on the community and the community aspect of this place, putting on events that haven't really been seen before in Ireland, taking down a lot of barriers to put on the right events, to put on events that people really wanted, that you'd see in London or New York. And it really has been built by a community at the start. People would just drive in with their food trucks. And since over the last 4 years, we've really put a lot of structure into the place to kind of create, a more permanent structure here in Cork. The Marina Market has a huge history going back, hundreds of years to when this original plant was opened by the Ford factory. So this is an extension to the Ford factory, basically, and it was opened by Jack Lynch. And his very first car, one of the very first cars that was built in this factory in the Marina Market, was given to Jack Lynch. So to pay homage to that history that we have, we've opened up a Ford week here in Cork. So we're showcasing a huge amount of Ford vehicles, from the original Fords and tractors that were rolled off the line to very unique and new Fords. We put on these events for the community that helped build us to where we are today. If you haven't been down to Marina Market, you'll see that it's really a hub of activity. There's a lot of life happening here. And again, it's hugely about the community that surrounds us and the people that help build us to where we are today.
Cyril, you have a connection here to the Ford plant.
I do indeed, Bob, yes. Both my father and his father worked here up to 1984.
Right up to the end?
Yes, right up to the end. Well, my grandfather retired in 1961.
Right.
My father was here until 1984 when they stopped production.
When the union pulled the plug.
I don't think it was the union, Bob.
No, it's Ford.
Yeah. I think it was because the fact that we joined the European Union, that there was tariffs on cars coming in to Ireland pre that time. But when we joined the European Union, there was a number of years grace given, and after that all the tariffs were lifted. Then to the best of my knowledge, that had a big impact and a big bearing on the closure.
How long have you been collecting Capris?
This Capri, I have 2 years, Bob, but right. I had one prior to that, which I traded in for this one for 7 years. But my interest, or my love of Capris, you could say, goes back to when my father drove a Mark I Capri. Right. This is a Mark III. But
the real Capri.
Yeah, the real Capri was the Mark I. And funnily enough, that Capri was brought from the UK by his uncle, my granduncle, who worked for Ford also, originally here in Cork, but went to Dagenham soon around the time of the Second World War. And he worked in Dagenham for the rest of his working life, but he came home to Ireland to retire at 65 or 67 years of age, and brought this Capri with him, which was, as far as I can recall, one of the first Mark 1s to be built, and it was on show demonstrating the new car, the new model, and he managed to acquire it from the Ford company in Dagenham, brought it home with him when he retired, and subsequently sold it to my father. It was an automatic transmission, which was very unusual back then in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, 3-speed automatic.
3-speed automatic is right, Bob, yeah?
Yeah, just hit D, go.
Yes,
and
that's
I
it.
had 1 and 2, I think.
1 and 2 and D for drive and reverse and park. When I bought the first Capri, I bought near about 10 years ago. Actually, I didn't buy it. My wife gave me a present of it for my big birthday because I was always talking about buying a Capri, and she obviously was listening unknowns to me for years, and she did surprise me for a very big birthday I had back then with it. But the first thing my father said to me when I told him about it and when he saw it, how was she on juice? She's not automatic.
You're showing your car now in a car show. I mean, you're now in a car. It's not just a Capri now.
Yes.
It's a show car now.
Which I'm blown away by, Bob. Yes, I'm absolutely blown away. I think this is a fantastic idea here on behalf, Owen and Rebecca. They've done a tremendous job here in the Marina Market, part of the old Ford plant. It's brilliant. It's absolutely
amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's great for all Ford enthusiasts and the general public as well, I'd say. There seems to be an awful lot of interest here because I know Owen was telling me originally it was to run from Wednesday to Wednesday, and it's now been extended to this coming Sunday.
Obviously, some people get very excited about the older stuff, the likes of the Model T, etc. But for you and I, we're of a similar age and vintage, and this was one of my sort of early press cars as a journalist. The Mondeo ST200, fabulous car. This one's on sale at the moment. Actually, this was lent by Edgewood Automotive, who are in Cork. But this one was an incredible performance car. If you remember around this time, Bob, there was the Ford Puma Racing, which was an extraordinary machine. I know someone who has one of those. This as well was a very much a more mainstream car.
The Mondeo man was born.
Exactly, incredible performance. I do remember having an unfortunate incident with this as a journalist, in that I was driving in Ashburn and I hit a pothole and the whole wheel came off. Not just the tyre, the whole wheel just sheared off. Yeah, so it's been an amazing event. I mean, I think possibly Ford Ireland missed a trick and not mentioning it. I know it's not organised by them, but and I think from talking to some of the people who were involved in it, it was one of those events that started off small. It was supposed to be a couple of cars, and it just grew and grew and grew. And they've managed to add what is an incredible lineup. It's great to see a throwback to the heritage of what this was. This was partially the site of the Ford plant up until 1984, and I think if it's probably 40 years now, July 1984 when the factory closed itself. So
I've been on the news. There were lads walking out of the plant.
Yeah, there's a clip going around on TikTok somewhere of the RT footage, and you probably find it on the RT archives of the last day of the plant closing, and it was a devastating thing. We have a little bit of a heritage in Ireland of assembly. If you remember Volkswagen, were the first country outside of Germany to produce the Beetle in Shelburne Road, and they were producing on the Nace Road up till mid-70s, I think. The Transporter, and I think Fiat also had some other assembly here. So we had that heritage of at least assembling the cars, but this was a proper factory. It wasn't just sort of nailing cars together. This was a proper factory, and but I believe it was its size and its location that eventually put paid to it being a proper production plant.
The western edge of Europe.
Yeah, exactly. But great to be here, and it's for anyone, I suppose, who has the time and sees this in time, do get down here and have a look. It's totally free, and the access is great. So and any amount of food selections outside as well. Thanks, Bob.
I own this 5,000 here and that major there.
All right.
And I bought the two of them off of one lady.
Right.
And the only thing she wanted, she didn't want me to sell them, she just wanted them restored because they were belonged to her father, and he bought the two of them new.
Right.
Yeah, they're really original tractors. They have all the only change with that tractor was she got new mudguards. The rest of the stuff in her is all her own door. Everything's all her own roof, own bonnet, own everything. That tractor's original. One owner, and her father owned it, and he had it for years and years, and he was very happy. He died in, and she decided to move the two of them on.
Right.
And this is the other one in this major over here across the road. That's one owner. That's a real original tractor. It has power steering out of the factory, which a lot of them didn't have. And it has a pickup hitch as well, which a lot of them didn't have.
Yeah.
It's a really unique tractor, and she's all original. I'm bringing a couple of tractors from Chicago in the next couple of months. I bought
Both tractors were built here.
two tractors that were built here, yes. They were built here in 1929. They're two Fordsons. There's one of them inside on the corner, a white one, the same.
And how did they end up in Chicago?
They went out there they took them out there for the coal mines in Pennsylvania. They're petrol. The petrol work better outside there for the coal, you see. And they use them in the coal mines there for years. There's two of them there. And the collector bought them then. And we see them and same as Dundee here outside in America. And my brother went down, he picked them up.
Wow.
He's going to pick him up actually today. So there's two of them there. We hope to bring them back here. They want us to bring them in here to see them, bring them back home from where they originated from, like in 1929.
Immigrants.
Yeah, immigrants, yeah. But it's just nice and it was very nice to be asked to come up here because the history of Ford and Cork and all the work, all the employment they gave around Cork and everything when they were here, like, so it was nice to be asked to come. The history of Henry Ford and everything, I've followed him up there a bit as well, and I intend to go to Detroit where he had the other factory. When I go to America next the end of the year, probably I would like to go down to see what that was as well.
It was my father's car, basically.
This was his father.
This particular was my father's car, in actual fact. And that was his first car, in actual fact, because he was a great man. He had a BSA Army bike. So basically, he had this car, then I inherited this car as such, like, and obviously because of I suppose, time constraints and a lack of mechanical news, I put it in storage.
Did you sell the car and you bought it back? Or you
No, it was actually, I inherited it. I inherited it, yes.
So one owner.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yes. So it was in storage for some time, as I said, and obviously through time, basically, there was some obviously rust developing and so forth. So we had some friends up in County Fermanagh, and we decided then after a long conversation that I would get it brought up to Fermanagh by transporter. And the guy basically was P.T. O'Reilly. He was basically a restoration, I suppose, really enthusiast as such. So as I said to you, basically, it was near the Coolkay Mountains in the boardwalk, this gateway to heaven, 7 steps to heaven. But as it happened, basically, Bob, he had it basically, like, and you might have heard of the 7-year itch.
Yeah.
He had it for 7 years,
Right.
and he painfully restored it. We had obviously issues getting parts and so forth, but all original parts for the Anglia were sourced in the UK and brought into Ireland, and also local in Enniskillen as well.
And you had the original receipt.
Yes, I have the original receipt.
£525?
£565, yeah, that's correct, yes.
For that car.
For that car, yes.
It's amazing to see
Absolutely.
the whole history.
Yes.
Like a family history.
It's mostly a family history, so I would have been the second owner from my father as such. Like, my early recollection basically was it was only taken out when there was a wet morning and he brought me to school in it. And secondly, basically, he used to bring me out to a harbour view. I don't know whether you know West Cork well.
Yeah.
It's near Cork McSherry, across the bay, to fish for mackerel.
Right.
So they were the special occasions, really. It really was his pride and joy, really, because as I said again, it was his first car.
And is someone else going to inherit this now?
Funny enough, Bob, I have 2 sons,
Right.
my wife, and I said I'm constantly under pressure because very little interest in it. So I yet to decide what I'm going to do with it.
Give him no option. It's in the will. You must mind it.
new assador. Assador basically means the grill or the person who is cooking. And new is because it comes from the Irish, which it means new. So the whole idea was to bring something new to Cork, like a new way to cook a steak in front of the people with the open fire and with the South American flavor that I want to bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it working for you? You getting a lot of
Yeah, it's going pretty well. So, we get the best meat we can from the English market, from Tom Gurkha Meats. And then, as people say, we cook with Brazilian love, and then we finish with our award-winning chimichurri sauce. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. So we got an award with the chimichurri the first 3 months since we opened, and then the following year. And then hopefully this year as well, we have this beautiful sauce served on the side for everything we serve.
And is it working to me people will look at this and will see if you're beside other food markets, like your competition is right beside you.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that work for you?
It works. It is challenging sometimes, especially in terms of pricing, I think. But what I can see from the market with like Marina Market, it's brilliant. So they bring every single type of customers for us. And I feel that every single stall has a different type of customer profile, let's say. So, and it is working. So far, it's working very well for us. So even though we sell meats, we have a good price point. But it's working pretty well.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Most businesses won't open right beside their competition.
Yeah.
Within all the reach of competition.
Exactly. So first we started here. We only had 5 other stalls. We were one of the first ones to come into the stalls, the actual stalls that they had. And then now we are, I would guess, 25 of us of different options. So, which is cool because if it was only us, we wouldn't have this amount of people around.
Yeah. And it's a quiet game,
Yeah, exactly. So the more, the better. Sometimes I think we are all consistent. I can't complain at all. So, but it's good. It's good to see that your competition right in front of you, and then maybe get some ideas or try to work around it or something like this. But it's good. So we involve each other.
My name is Brian O'Neill, and I'm the owner of this lovely white Ford Mark 1 Escort. Pleasure to have you down, Bob, in this great Ford show down in the Cork Marina to celebrate the Ford factory and all the cars and all the hard work we put into restoring them and keeping them the way they are. This car itself is a Ford Mark 1 Escort assembled in Cork in April 1968.
Wow.
So this car is actually quite early.
Yeah.
They were being started and built in November and December. So this is actually a very early 1968. As it had been an early Escort, there's a few items on the Escort that will be different from the later Escort of the 70, 71, 72, 73. As you can see, there's a starter handle hole down at the front grille.
Yeah.
So the bonnet catch for the grille is actually accessible from the front grille. It's not like a button underneath the dash.
Yeah.
The doors of the Escort are different as well, that they don't have a locking mechanism. So there's a few unique items. I've owned this car since 2016. I bought it from Clare, a gentleman in Clare, and it is actually a very well-known car within Munster and the Escort fraternity. It's been around. It has a lovely brown original logbook with all the stamps every year from 1968 right up to 2009. So it has been fairly well on the road. For any Green Party members, this has paid an awful lot of tax. This car has paid tax the last 50 years.
The carbon offset is
exactly. I'm sure now the carbon offset would sort that.
Yeah.
So another unique item about the car is the fact that it's registration. So the registration is TIU 259.
Right.
TIU is a Limerick reg, so it's a Cork assembled car, a Limerick reg. So when I go to shows and stuff, you'll always know a rally enthusiast. He'll come up to you, he'll put your hand around you, he goes, you know your car is 9 numbers off the original Billy Coleman Escort. And I'll always know then that I say, you know your stuff. So this car, Billy Coleman's original Ford Escort was TIU 250. That was his first Escort that he started off rallying with and became very successful. This car is 9 numbers off this.
Right.
So it's quite unique.
Probably on the same assembly line.
Probably on the same assembly line. Another unique item that I say, because it is a Cork assembled car, walking around here the last 2 weeks and just seeing older gentlemen and people talking about my father worked here, my grandfather worked here. And sometimes when I talk to people and they say, my father worked here, and I go, what year did he work? Oh, he worked in the 60s and 70s. And I turn to this car and I go, at some point, if your father worked in this factory, your father touched or assembled or put something into this car somewhere along the line. So that's a nice little item as well to say. It's family history.
It was very special, and I suppose it's even more special then that the cars have just survived.
Right on.
Because a lot of these cars did not survive. I've heard many a story of people burying cars, people leaving them inside the road, scrap for £50. They were throwaway because there were so many of them. So it's great to see that a good few of them have been kept and preserving history as well.
It's going to stay where they are.
Yeah.
And been ready for far.
Exactly.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Bob, thank you very much.
Really
much appreciated.
Really more of this.
Yeah.
So that's it from Marina Market. I've had an amazing afternoon here with Penny Common and everyone else I've met along the way, including some of the vendors outside as well. If you're interested, Marina Market, it's on Google Maps, just come down. It can be hard to get parking because it's so busy here. But it's been an absolutely amazing day with everyone walking in front of the camera, doing their thing. It's fine, you know, it's been an experience. An unforgettable one. Don't forget, small business is the engine of Ireland. It's not really Apple or Google or any of those big boys. It's actually these small businesses that take a chance, put their own money up, they employ more people, and they do stuff like this. Open up their whole car show to someone like me and everyone else who walks through all day. It's been a fascinating look down here in a little tiny sliver of Cork City. I'm enjoying my time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you hit the subscribe button. And until the next time, I will see you on the far side. And I'm talking about some of the cars. Wasn't that awesome? All day in the company of passionate people, passionate business people who are really trying to make a difference. Make a difference for everybody. Of course. Come on, Dublin. Where's your verse in this? Where is the big business verse in this? Because they're all small business. They are the engine. They are the heroes. They are the ones who get up 7 days a week. They go to work. They work all day. They sit in the accountant's office. They do their tax returns. It's a killer. And they're all in here. And they're all doing their best to be there. I really admire what they're doing on here, and I will be back for some of them steak sandwiches. I will be back.